Welcome to a reading. Let's tap in and see what comes through. What it is you need to know for your highest good when you click on this video. I'm just going to get like an overlook of what the energies are about. And then we'll go in with tarot. Okay, I'm seeing already how you seem to be moving through a space where prior to this, you've gotten activated. And it looks like a heart activation. Like something must have stirred your heart, or on the level of the heart. It seems to be helping you as to deciphering what you're meant to let go of. I am seeing someone like letting go of a rose, so it could even speak of symbolically that you're letting go of one love, or what you had perceived to be love, to make room for what actually will feel like love. I'm gonna go in with the card and we'll just see what they have to say. But yeah, I'm hearing like go time, and the visual I'm getting is someone who's really ready to pounce. Either someone's ready to pounce at you, or you are just ready for like the real thing. Cups. Four of Wands is the underlying energy. That would make sense because I'm hearing if you've worked or if you have become very stable within yourself, you're more likely to recognize that within another person. In other words, you're more likely to recognize what will add to the stability that you've, come about or worked for. This could be an echo of the Patreon reading that I just did. It's the Aries. The title is Sandwiched Between an Old Flame and a New Love That Is Calling You Home. So you may want to watch that prior to this or after this. It will give you more insight, because I'm picking up on that energy again, especially here with what I was saying, like what letting go of what you may have perceived or what you may have thought was one love, to make room for the real thing. Because exactly you now know or have understood what actually adds to your inner stability and to your peace, and what takes away from it. It's pretty simple. So it sounds simple, but it can still be groundbreaking. It can be especially groundbreaking if this is you breaking out of a cycle or out of templates, even generational family templates, where the love may have been very chaotic and very volatile and very like disruptive, like up and down, chaotic, not really giving you a sense of peace or sense of stability. So if that is your norm or that was your baseline growing up, there could have been years where you kept choosing that, even somewhat unconsciously, because that's what feels safe, that's what feels familiar. So that's why I'm saying what I heard was coming through, is that it's groundbreaking, and it's important that you can also acknowledge that, because it's literally you breaking out of templates that may have come very not natural to you, but you were conditioned to believe that that is what love is or what it feels like. So when you do the inner work and you committed to it and you start coming home to yourself more and more, that is also when your relationships or your love template start shifting, because exactly like the messages here, you start recognizing what actually feels good. So it's groundbreaking. This can take years, and it can take a lot of really needing to understand you, like yourself, getting to know yourself, so that you even can break through this patterning, because most people will just keep choosing partners based on the template that they grew up with, not knowing that there's other choices or other possibilities, and they'll just stick around with that until the end of days because it's familiar. But yeah, the Patreon reading is really significant here. So I have it all linked below if you just want to check that out. You can also just buy the single reading. You don't have to become a member if you don't feel ready yet. So moving through the spread, there's another message. The more you start aligning and start calling in and actively choosing what adds value, what adds to the peace that you've cultivated, you're gonna get backlash in form of interference, and even whether these are people, whether these are the entities that are attached to these people, whether these are parasites, leeches, whatever was profiting from you still putting in energy and time and effort into what is more of a reflection of the old love template, what felt familiar and comfortable, what we just talked about. It can also be that friendships replicate that. It doesn't always have to be romantic. It can even be work, like the type of work or the relationship that you have with a boss. Like, it literally oozes into every part of your life. That as well is why I keep getting this to remind you that it's groundbreaking. You're doing real inner work, like you're really changing your life this way. So ultimately, you're gonna get a bit of backlash at the point where you really switching into that space where there's no going back, where you also know, understand that you're not gonna ever go back or not ever gonna make the same choices that may have felt familiar and comfortable all this time. And there's a bit of grief connected to this. And I'm also getting that once you move past that, it's kind of like, it feels like someone coming off of cigarettes, you know? Like, you know they're not good for you, but you still get a craving every now and then you just have to let the craving pass because you know you're not gonna smoke. You can't anymore. But the craving's still there, and then you just need to sit it out, and then it passes. I'm getting the same sensation here. You may suddenly miss someone or feel like, oh, I want to, go hang out with them, or for all time's sake, or it wasn't that bad, but you can't. And that's the thing, that's what's tricky or can be tricky with these threshold moments, is you can't keep standing in between two worlds. Like, you have to make a choice and you have to stick to it, because you otherwise you basically give out mixed signals to the universe if you don't commit to one path. And if you give out mixed signals, they won't really know anymore what it is that you actually want. And you may not know what you actually want in those moments yourself, but you actually do. And this is where it's important that you recognize when you start feeling confused, to recognize where it's coming from, because a lot of the times, especially in these moments, it will be interference. It will be exactly that, distractions to keep you from fully moving past the threshold where even then people, entities, these beings can even reach you anymore. That's why the backlash gets bigger. That's like the last attempt to keep you tethered to a timeline where they still have access to you. Again, that's why this is groundbreaking. Like, this reading is literally for someone you've been doing groundbreaking work. That's why you're at this point. And also I am hearing that if it gets more charged and you feel like, okay, there's a lot happening right now, that's why I'm getting like this sense of go time. Like, you know where you're headed or you know where you're going. You just need to move through somewhat of the sludge still of like little tests, whether these are tests from people, tests from the universe of like, okay, are you going to stick to what we agreed on? So, or what you agreed on with yourself. A lot of this is also a reflection of the love that you have for yourself, ultimately. So yeah, I'm getting a lot of mixed emotions here. I'm getting relief, I'm getting grief, I'm getting like heartache, but also heart opening. So it's a lot of, I'm kind of getting two spectrums of the same coin still. So yeah, they're just confirming what I already felt and I wanted to say, but I'm just seeing it with the cards, so I can't speak it loud because it's confirmed. What is waiting for you or what you are aligning with is ultimately going to feel better than anything you've experienced so far. Whether this is specifically a love that is blooming, because I do have the Knight of Cups here out. Still though, I'm sensing there's gonna be a phase, whether this is the one you're in right now, or yeah, I can just tell you what I'm seeing is like a phase or period where you will still have that both, like that same different spectrums from the same coin. Like you can feel the expansion, you can feel the feels freaking amazing, like this is what I've been working for. I just didn't know I was going to feel this way, but it feels amazing. And at the same time, the grief and a bit of like limbo, feeling a little bit in limbo. And there as well, weirdly enough, you may get, even if you, let's say you get into a full-blown relationship with someone, it's better than you could have imagined and wished for. I'm sensing there's still gonna be layers that you work through of grief and even unworthiness of like, do I really deserve this? And also those cravings for something else. That's also reminding me, I don't know where I read up on this. I read up on so much things. Like I'm basically, I think I have a psychology degree that no one has given me yet, but I feel like I should be getting one because I just read up on a lot of topics that interest me, and it's reminding me of what I read up on, that when you change your relationship template, like we talked about at the beginning, what I could read in the cards, is that when you have a safe love or love that is actually healthy or is like, yeah, healthy, it's not dysfunctional like what you may have been used to, there can be periods where you may feel a little bit bored because the chaos and the up and down, the roller coaster can still give a bit of like an adrenaline, like a bit of a kicker, especially if you're like a bit of an adrenaline junkie, it's gonna feel exciting. And then when it's healthy or like peaceful and harmonious and stable, gives stability, can feel a bit boring. It's just what, like for you specifically, there's just something to look out for, that maybe you can reframe it as like, okay, this is not boring, this is just what it feels like to be in a healthy, committed relationship that actually can go somewhere. You know, like that is also part of the restructuring. So basically the cards are just showing me that it's not going to happen from today to tomorrow. Like you're not going to change your whole neural pathways just from one choice of aligning or getting into or allowing a love in that will ultimately feel a lot better than what you've experienced so far. Like this is, I'm hearing trauma response. So there will be a period, and this can take years, of you literally working through trauma with a partner. So you'll have stuff come up, but instead of working through it alone, or what you may, like how you've worked through it so far, you will have someone who can hold space. They won't fix it for you because it's a healthy relationship. It's not codependent. It's not you do this for me, I do this for you, that's what's love. They're gonna act as a container where they let you work through what comes up without you having to feel or be worried that they're gonna run away at the first sight of your shadow, you know? So sounds freaking amazing if you ask me, but still the message I do need to transmit to you is that just be aware that there's gonna be certain emotions or like things that come up that may make you doubt the relationship, when actually it's not the relationship that you're doubting, it's just that you're doing inner work with a partner, which may be unusual for you, I don't know, but there's just a sense of having to get used to that, and ultimately, like, this is specific, but I heard ultimately this is why you choose each other, because you can recognize. It's reminding me of, I don't know, I think it's something I read on, I don't know, remember if it was a meme, but it was something like, why did you choose me? And the answer was like, oh, because you have this dark, like, you have this inner darkness or sadness about you that I recognize with yourself, but it was just framed a little bit differently, a little bit funnier. Then this just sounded very serious, but I guess it brings it to the point that you may ultimately be drawn here to someone, or the person that will or can hold that container for you, someone who has similar wounding or just recognizes that depth and isn't scared of it. Like, they're not scared of you, that, like, doing the nitty gritty, bawling your eyes out with freaking snot running down your nose, like, and still being there. That takes, I always heard a real man, they have jokes sometimes, I swear, I heard a real man, but ultimately, whether man or woman or anything in between, it's just a person who will stick by your side while you work through, trauma that may still be lingering, like, trauma can be stored within your, like, fascia and your muscles, and like, you can flare up or come up exactly in moments where you feel safe. So this is not to scare you, this is just, I'm getting a sense that spirit is just preparing you or wanting to give you some insight that it's not bad when that happens. It means that you either feel safe within the relationship, or you feel finally safe within yourself, where your body's intelligence is going to be like, okay, this is still around, you've just put it into the cellar, but now that you have the time, and now that your nervous system is regulated, we can bring it up so you can process it, so we can digest it, we can integrate it so that it doesn't affect you anymore. Because ultimately, this is why somatic work, which, by the way, we also do when you book in for one-on-one sessions, it's a lot of body work as well, because we ultimately do exactly that. We find out which programs are still lodged within you, within your body, that affect your mind and affect the decisions, and we clear it. But it's not always a quick fix. Sometimes there's programming, or that's why it's built up level 1 to 5, because for one, it needs commitment and time. The sessions, we sometimes have 1 month in between, or even longer, because there's time that's needed for the integration. It's deep work. It's very powerful, it's very potent, but we work on a very deep level. It's not surface level hocus pocus, like, it's actually work. But if you're already someone who has the tendency of doing so much inner work, it can be a beautiful add-on for what you may not have been able to connect. Like, if you have certain patterns playing out, or if you have certain tendencies and you just haven't been able to make sense where it comes from, it can really help put 2 and 2 together for one, and also it's just we clear it from the root. So yeah, that was a little bit of promotion, a little advert, but I'm only speaking of it because, for one, drawing in the right people who are, I want to say, qualified for this work, because I don't just work with anyone. And B is coming through in the reading as like the foundation, the prerequisite of when this work is even of value. So anyways, I think we're pretty much done. I think I said everything that's come through in the cards. Let me double check. Yeah, I mean, you can come back to this. As always, feel free to let me know in the comments. Feel free to share your stories, check out Patreon, and I will see you very soon.